How far did you go in a game of truth or dare? Not me, but was a neighbor's fiancé. I lived in an apartment complex and we had some friends over and had also invited the new neighbors, a med school grad and his fiancée, nice enough couple and seemed pretty tame. Overall it was a pretty equal mix, 4 guys/4 girls, and the girls were all sitting at the kitchen table and guys were back and forth between the den and the patio to smoke. Hours go by and we're all pretty drunk and the girls had started taking shots and playing truth or dare. All the guys were out back and I'd come in to get another beer and use the restroom. While I'm coming out of the bathroom I hear the seemingly tame fiancé say truth, and one of the girls asks, "Have you ever had sex in exchange for something?" I felt embarrassed at first, BC I'm thinking my perverted friends are corrupting this innocent young woman, prob 22 to 23, but I'm like, I gotta hear this, so I walk back to the fridge and this girl looks back to make sure her fiancé isn't inside and she says, "In college I asked a cute stranger at the liquor store to buy me some beer and he said only if I blew him, so I did." LOL, we weren't expecting that level of truth. I'm part of the generation that grew up before smartphones and the internet as we know it today came into being. The internet was there, it was just more wild and untamed than it is now, and cell phones were still a luxury item. Go camping in a remote area for a couple weeks. Turn off your phone and leave it in the car. Bring books to read and food to cook, that's all you'll need for entertainment. Did this myself last year and it's the only thing I've done in the last 20 years that made me feel complete and unequivocal free to make into what I felt as a child in the last leg of the 20th century. Snapped me out of being suicidal too, that wasn't intentional but I'm not complaining. Reminds me of a time in college. We were playing a variant of truth or dare where people were paired up, and the pair that lost a game had to do a dare. As part of my dares, I kissed a super attractive, but crazy, girl, and then had my first kiss with my soon-to-be, but now ex-girlfriend. My friend ends up losing the game while paired with his crush. They are dared to kiss. The girl started to cry, we were all pretty drunk, and said she didn't want to. He's a solid dude, so he obviously backed off immediately, but, man. No coming back from that. Edit, to defend the girl a bit, as some of y'all are saying she should suck it up or whatever. She's a very emotional drunk and didn't have a lot of experience with guys. She also knew he had a crush on her. We also had an at least 10 seconds rule become normal for the kiss dares, so it wasn't a quick peck or something, probably worth mentioning earlier. She just felt really pressured and overwhelmed by the situation. I don't blame her at all, but, of course, that wouldn't make it hurt for my friend any less. Mostly math class. This was junior year, so we were both taking trigonometry, we were both in the honors program and on college track. I actually was her type, it was mostly her trying to keep an image that made her avoid me for most of high school. She was sitting there next to me on the bed, wearing nothing but a skimpy thong. We started talking about school and what we were planning to do after high school. I admitted to her that I did have a crush on her and I guess she just sorta stopped caring about her image. Honestly, this girl was actually very nice to me when her friends weren't around. That was before this happened. So I think that, me seeing her as she really was, she sorta stopped caring what her friends thought. I was at this basketball camp, around 15 years old at the time, we were playing truth or dare and our coach, who was a pretty fat dude, was just nearby chatting with some friends. He comes up to us just to check on us and crack a few jokes. Quickly somebody shouts truth or dare to him, and he jokingly says dare. I could have said anything, literally anything, and you know what I said? I dare you to lose 30 kilograms of fat in the next 10 minutes. Dead silence. He looks at me with a completely dead stare, then leaves without saying a word. I knew how much I truly fucked up as soon as I finished the sentence. We pretty much stopped playing in that exact moment, everybody just went back to their respective room. Came back crying to him like 20 minutes later trying to apologize. To this day sometimes I still remember about it and I feel so shameful. Completely true story. When I was 18 to 19 or so, was pretty timid and still a virgin. I went to this party at my friend's and we started playing Todd and ended up with all the guys making out with all the girls, a group of maybe 7 to 8 guys and equal number of girls. This one girl there, she and I had been friends since 6th grade and I knew she'd always had a crush on me. All her friends kept trying to push things with her and I during the game, we made out, but that was the extent of it. At some point, we're all drunk and she loudly proclaims that I need to follow her inside and she's going to take my virginity. I saw this girl as more of a sister and had zero interest in that, so I declined. Next thing I know, she's gone, and one of my best friends is also missing. At that I was kind of sad, but I wasn't really into her so I don't know why, I just didn't like the thought of those two. Anyway, they both emerge an hour or so later and it quickly spreads that they'd both gone into a bathroom and had sex. And then a few days later, I found out from my buddy that he caught the herb from that girl during that encounter. Only once in my life have I ever played truth or dare when there were an equal number of genders, everyone being single, and with the possibility of everyone possibly liking each other. A few of the other people had already dared other people to kiss each other, person A dated person B to kiss person C. They were all just small pecks. In one of the most bold moves in my whole life, I dared someone to kiss me. No one had been so direct. She said what kind of kiss, and I said any. And then we ended up making out a bunch from there until rest of night. I never had expected her to say yes, let alone anything more than a peck, and I wasn't even sure if she had liked me up until that point. It was quite memorable. It was the last time I ever played truth or dare and it was over 10 years ago. Definitely a highlight of my life. I moved back home after 2 years of college in another city and started going to a school with a bunch of friends and others from my high school, and at the first party we were playing sociables. Before I moved away, I was a bit overweight and ashamed of my body, but in the 2 years away from home I had worked out and got pretty jacked. At this party, I was wearing a very baggy shirt. The crowd was mostly people I hadn't seen in a while, plus this girl I was interested in and a very good friend of mine, who knew I was into her and knew that I had got into good shape. He pulled the dare card, and dared us to switch clothes. I'm 6 feet 6 inches, she's 5 feet 8 inches, and we had to swap shirts and pants. I had a baggy shirt and jeans on, she was in a crop top and shorts. We swapped, everyone started to notice that I was a lot more jacked than before and she kept staring. When the game was done, she wouldn't let me switch back into my clothes, saying that she liked how they fit me. We went home together that night, started dating and are now married and expecting our first kid. Edit, I know this annoys some people, I don't care, but thanks for the awards, comments, and updates. Never thought my top Reddit comment would be about a drinking game and wearing women's clothing. Appreciate all the dad advice too. Not very far, but here are my moments. 8th grade, on an outing with the gifted program at my small K-8 elementary school, I was dared to kiss one of the girls in the group. She was a 7th grader, and quite pretty, also, she was the principal's daughter. It was just a quick peck on the lips, but it did feel like getting even after all the time I'd spent in her dad's office through the years. College, my roommate and a few other friends are hanging at roomie's dad's condominium while his dad is out of town. We all lived in the dorms at Cal Poly Pomona. This was in Westminster, which was a bit of a haul. After a few drinks we start playing truth or dare. I jumped naked into the pool on a dare, and was drunk enough to accept. One of the girls got dared to suck my roommate's dick, she accepted. The game ended with me, another girl, and one of the other guys simulating a DP while fully clothed. She dared me to suck somebody's toes. I had a secret crush on her, so her toes were the obvious choice. I was terrified. I like feet, but I'd only ever admired them from a distance. She offered to clean hers, walking into the kitchen to grab a paper towel. She threatened to make me do burpees while yelling my desire to suck her toes if I chickened out. I got down on my knees in front of her, trembling. A friend whispered encouragement in my ear. With a burst of fuck it energy, I dived in. I avoided the big toe she was offering and put the next two in my mouth. I sucked in as my lips wrapped around them, slightly bobbing. I was committed. The room was screaming in disbelief. She pulled back her feet at the sensation. I returned to my chair as the room exploded in congratulations, laughter, and general shock. As the room settled, I realized a crucial fact. I was next in the game. And I knew exactly what to do. I pointed at her and said her name. Truth or dare? Her face was overcome with fear as she realized her situation. Retaliation was in order. To her left, a friend insisted she say dare, as it was only fair given my bravery. I repeated my question. Dare, she timidly replied. Come taste your feet, as I pointed to my lips. The room erupted in cheers and screams of laughter, louder than before. She walked over to me, and she tasted her feet. This is more of a clueless guy moment, but it was probably a good thing at the time. We lived in a rural area and I must have been around 12 or 13 at the time. I was playing truth or dare with my neighbors, brother and sister. I dared the sister to take off her top. So we had her brother turn around. Then she pulled up her shirt and I stared on in awe. After about 10 seconds we could hear my brother coming through the woods. She pulled her shirt down with seconds to spare and I had to go home for dinner. My neighbor was really cute and I had no idea she only did that because she liked me, until a couple of years later when she told me, when it was too late. Me being a typical boy, only around 12, thought she did it because those were the rules of dare, and you don't mess with those rules. Why is it a good thing I didn't know she liked me? Because we were 12 in the 89/90 era. We were home by ourselves because our parents were working and wouldn't be home until 5:36. We probably would have ended up being teen parents with all of that alone time. Was supposed to be truth or dare but quickly turned into how far will you go? I was in this program and these two girls I had huge crushes on and also another dude. Was May long weekend and there was the festivities and dances. I was the only one drinking so was feeling fairly ballsy. We were back at one of the girls' houses and laughing having fun and the girls knew I liked them like a lot so they started to tease and lightly touch each other and mentioned they go further if we did. Being 15 to 16 and seeing live girl on girl as a teen was like fuck yeah. I had no idea at the time that this was a rouse for the guy to be able to live his dream of getting me in his pants. Kissing led to him giving me a BJ in front of these girls and only having maybe 2 sexual encounters before and not lasting long. I wanted to last longer to show I could be suitable. They didn't go as far sadly, but watching them make out and touch each other on top of their clothes was the best thing a teen could see, and getting oral on top wasn't from the girls, but hey, receiving is receiving. Not long after we all went to bed and surprisingly one of the girls joined me on the couch and we made out and dated for a few months after that. Sadly she broke her sister code cause they both liked me but said they wouldn't put me between their friendship. Happily the friend was cool with it. After 17 years we are all still friends but live in different towns. I had a very close friend group in high school. There were 5 guys and 4 girls. We were all super comfortable with each other, so truth or dare got boring really fast. Nobody cared about being naked, making out, or even going a tad farther. We all did it and it got old quickly. So we invented a new game, Light of Truth. You have a flashlight and sit in the absolute darkness. If you have the flashlight, you shine it in your face and then ask anyone else in the room absolutely anything you wanted. You had to answer honestly and we all knew if you were lying. Because the light was in your face, You couldn't see anything when asking the question and the darkness offered a weird sense of anonymity for the person answering. That's how we found out our best friend was gay. That's how two couples in that group of friends broke up. It's how we learned two of us were suicidal. It's how a friend learned that their parent was having an affair with another friend's parent. It's how we learned our friend was a drug addict. It's how every single one of us went our separate ways and have nearly nothing to do with each other despite spending literally every single day of 5+ years together. Fuck that game. I played a small game in college in a friend's room, with his girlfriend and a few of her friends. Which, in retrospect, was an amazing wingman move on his part, inviting his single friend to play Truth or Dare with 4 girls. It was something where all of the questions/dares were generated by an app, so it was more or less fair. We were all sober, but something about the mood was very low-key and low pressure, so we felt comfortable with a lot of stuff. I got a hickey on both sides of my neck from 2 different people, one of whom was my friend. He was a little too rough, but the hickey looked good. I suppose it was all fair, because I also kissed his girlfriend in front of him. I had to kiss 2 different girls and rate which was the better kisser. One girl had some question that had something to do with porn, and admitted that she had never watched porn, so there was a running thread throughout the night with her friends pulling up porn on their phones and showing it to her. I made out a lot with one of the girls in particular, got her number, and sealed the deal a week later. Based on the replies in this thread, not every game ends in fucking, but a lot of seeds get planted. Not me, but a friend from high school. My best friend, her and I all got together in a winter break back from college kind of scenario. She confessed, coincidentally, in a game of Truth or Dare, that she initiated with us while drinking that she got F'd 7 times in one night by 2 different guys, and one of the times was a threesome with another girl during a group game of Truth or Dare a week prior before she left school for the break. She had a thing for both of us, so it was kind of an obvious just so you both know why we're doing Truth or Dare now kinda thing. But it ruined the whole fucking night for me. Mainly because she was engaged, ring on and all, to another guy we all went to school with. He was one of those guys that definitely was punching well above his weight looks wise with her, but he was so fucking nice to everyone, cool and genuine. Everyone in our friends circle definitely respected their relationship. When she saw it fucked us up a little, she started backtracking and saying she broke up with him for that night, so it didn't count as cheating, but the damage was kinda done. I quit talking to her after that, and my best friend, despite knowing it would end any chances with her / let her fiancé know through some back channels what happened. They eventually broke up, don't know why, but that wasn't it as crazy as that sounds. Her fiancé became a successful business owner, and last I heard she's hooked on heroin, so he definitely dodged a bullet there. We were outside the school during agriculture class, and I was dared to pull this lever on the wall. It was right beside an AC unit, so I figured it was going to cut the thing on. When I pulled it, it made the loudest click in the world, but the AC unit didn't budge. The loud noise caught me off guard and I froze. The teacher started coming around the corner, already knowing what had happened. I finally moved with the rest of the class when someone told me to move. When the teacher came around the corner, she was heated, demanding to know who had pulled the lever. No one narked. We went back inside the school, and to my surprise, one side of the hall looked normal, but the other half had students and teachers walking around dazed and confused in the dark. Apparently, the lever I pulled was to a breaker box and it cut off the power to one side of the building. To make things worse, it was finals week, and that side of the hall was where the engineering and technology classes were held. I felt awful. I was never caught, and I never took on a dare after that. I had a lot of my sexual firsts when I slept over at a family friend's and it was just us two. Almost lost my virginity, but drew the line there. BC, what if I'm about to get my first period within the next month and then I get pregnant? I was 11, lol, didn't get my period for another 3 years, and knew next to nothing about sex except that's how you get pregnant. And didn't know about condoms. My friend is 1.5 years older, so I'm sure by then he was watching porn. Honestly, very educational night, but forever grateful that I did not let him stick it in, even if what stopped me was a dumb reason. Come on sex ed, do better, be better. Edit, second story. Couple months ago, I'm 22 now. A game of blackjack/truth or dare ended in me participating in my first 4 SOME. This is considering I have turned down numerous 3 SOME opportunities in the past. I was pretty sure I wouldn't be into it. 4 SOME was with a friend I have extremely strong feelings for, and we'd hooked up before, but nothing more. Timing/life, and his best friends who are married and I had met a couple hours prior to this happening. Wasn't a new thing for them, but definitely was for me. Oh, and their ages are from 29 to 34.